Every single person is my enemy. Oh, the treachery. Every single person wants to be my enemy. My enemy.
Alright, I'm not going to spend too long here because, like, I don't want to tarnish Silco's name. He's my favourite character from Season 1. He is le bon, the best, but not even he's immune to this issues with Season 2, unfortunately. Yeah, so I just thought, oh the misery. I don't want to clown Silco again. I'm not going to meme him because he's the man. So let's just point out some things, all right? So early on, especially in the show, most, if not all, reference to him was about how he did nothing or he was wrong. Mainly talking about Savika and Jinx whenever they talk about her. Yeah, oh, he didn't do anything and I actually did everything and da-da-da-da-da. And there wasn't a singular moment where they thought, well, actually, you know, there's like a civil war going on in the lanes because Silco died. But no, he does nothing and we do everything. I hated that. That's so cringe, guys. You can have that kind of dialogue if you have the realization later on that those characters are wrong in saying that, but that doesn't happen. It doesn't. Silco is just looked upon in retrospect as a failure. Why are you doing that to my boy? Why are you doing that to my best boy? Whoa. Yeah, this... Okay, so... potentially could have turned into a good dude due to maybe finding a letter. No. This is where we start to get into some really big issues here, because for a character like Silco, especially, let's say most, if not all, villains, if you're being villainous, you're doing evil things, but let's say you think you're doing it for the right reason or whatever it is, if there is one or two very, very minor things that could have happened to change your mind, to turn you from a villain into, say, a good, peaceful guy, then you are paper thin, yeah, as a character. What they do with things like this is they take a very layered and, to me, incredible character and make him absolutely paper thin by saying, oh, you know, well, you know, if he found this letter, you know, oh, maybe he could have found forgiveness. So, mainly referring to episode 7, Silco, here. If, and this is a big if, you know, I've had some discussions with people about this, so granted, this is a big if. But if the only differences in the world for episode 7 are there are no Hex Tech, Heimer Dingleberries supports Zorn for a few years. Remember, he's been there for over 1,000 days. He is a council member, so he has a lot of power. And he has vested interest in the safety and security of Zorn. So that would be a few years of, hey, let's get rid of all these chem barons and, you know, let's actually make sure the people have a good time, yeah? And Vi dying. Let's not forget the most pivotal part of that timeline, Vi dying. So if those 3 things are enough for Silco to find forgiveness, yeah, and let's add the letter, so let's make it 4. If those 4 things are enough to change Silco so much that he goes from a schemer in the shadows who is willing to kill children, use child slavery to get his way. Remember, he hires children to work in drug factories. He's willing to kill children. He's willing to sacrifice so much for the unification of Zorn. If those 3 or 4 things happened, all of that is gone. He's ruined. And I am so confused as to how you can manage that. How you can manage to take a brilliant villain, an incredibly well-written and interesting and layered villain, and turn him paper thin by saying, oh, well, what if this happened, this happened, this happened? Oh, well, I actually managed to find forgiveness. It's the best thing we could do. Piss off. What a joke. What a joke. Obviously, as I said, there's granting a few things, but absolutely cringe if that's the case, yeah? And, yeah, look, I mean, I've seen this come up on my timeline, and every time it does, I want to, like, end my suffering. The Silco and Vander shipping, Look, if you want to play pretend in your mind and go, oh, that's so cute, I love Silco and Vanda, that's fine, yeah, but the show actually gave ship bait. So then people can make videos and ship them. Guys, why? Why? Why are we doing this? Oh, because like season 2 is for the shippers. If we haven't realised that, it's very important. You'll have a much better time watching the show if you realise that so at least 1 or 2 writers that work on the Arcane staff are like basically shippers. Yeah, they go online, they like, oh, people like these two, and then they ship them in the show, but not officially, right? They just have the odd little shot or sequence where they can go, oh yeah, the shippers are gonna love that. And I hate that. I really do. I'm not saying that the show is shipping them. I'm just saying that there's ship-worthy stuff. And that's cringe, man. That's super cringe. Moving right along, because I don't want to talk about Silco anymore. He's my boy. Oh, Vi. Well, there's nothing wrong with Vi. She's such a great character throughout the entire season. Wow. Yeah. No, she's really not. So Vi, the butch brain dead broski, and emphasis on brain dead because she does some really, really stupid stuff, yeah? She does some really stupid stuff this season. So she turns into... yeah, I got a little bit angry writing these notes. She turns into a friggin' moron whenever the plot requires it. It doesn't happen once. It happens multiple times throughout season 2. And she makes some of the stupidest decisions. She makes some of the stupidest decisions in the show just because the writers couldn't come up with anything better. Like, my videos are up there about some of the stupid decisions that she's made, and look, some people in the comments have disagreed. Absolutely fine, absolutely brilliant that you don't think that some of the things that I've pointed out her doing is like super stupid. Fine. But I think they really are, you know. Her deciding, you know, instead of using my Hextech-powered gauntlet with an energy shield to protect Jinx and Isha from potentially getting shot from Caitlyn, no, I'm just going to stand up and walk over to her and grab her gun, therefore not allowing her to do anything to Savika, who unleashes the Grey into Piltover. Stupid. You know, maybe just remove the child, yeah? I know you've probably seen the video on my channel. Just remove the child, yeah? Pick the child up, and then there's no problems. No. I'm going to stand up, walk me ass right on over to you, and grab your weapon so you can't do anything about Savika. It's such terrible writing. Like, the writers needed Savika to do this, and they knew Caitlyn has a gun. So, how are we, like, not gonna make it that Caitlyn can shoot Savika? Oh, I know. Instead of doing the most basic thing, Vi's gonna stand up and walk over. Or Vi's gonna do something ridiculous, like, oh, I don't know. Steal prison keys, and then release her psychotic sister, who then, by the way, her sister then goes and in an incredibly depressed state tries to end herself while Vi has her rocks off with Caitlyn in her prison cell. Oh, Vi, you're so stupid. Like, I literally thought that scene was in her head when Vi shows up and is like, I swiped these from the prison guard. I know you're good, da-da-da. Like, when that scene started, I thought, wow, it's just in her head, right? We just saw Silco in her head, so surely Vi saying all this nonsense, it's clearly in her head. And then she unlocks the cell, and it's real, and that's actual Vi, real-life Vi, stealing prison keys to release Jinx. Unbelievable. And the writers, the showrunner thinks this season isn't rushed. If you didn't see this, by the way, the showrunner is upset at people that thinks that season 2 is rushed. And I don't know what to say to that. Like, even people who love the season, even people who adore the season and think it's a 10 out of 10, even a lot of them agree that some elements, especially in the finale, feel very, very rushed. But the showrunner goes, no, that's cringe. Actually, it's not rushed. It's friggin' perfect. What? No way. No, wait, you guys don't even realise how rushed your show is? Yikes. That's how did you make season 1 and then make season 2 and think season 2 is good? You had the perfect doubt. Your fans, the people who still thought your show was good, is like, hey, this is just a bit rushed. I still love it, but it's a bit rushed. And he didn't like that. Bruh. Anyway, we're not talking about the showrunner, we're talking about Vi the Dum Dum. Goodness me. Okay, so it goes from being willing to have Jinx killed in front of her to breaking her out of prison. Yeah, in the most bizarre scene ever. As I had just said, I felt this was the strangest scene I had ever seen. I was confident that this was just in her head because it was such nonsense. Like the dialogue, what Vi was doing, the fact that Vi could do it, another etch in the notch of friggin' Piltover's miserable security. God. Yeah, look. And I've said it a couple times in my breakdowns before even watching the final arc. I really thought that one of the things that I wanted to see, like one of the few things that I wanted to see, was Vi and oh shit, that is cringe. I've just noticed what I've done. I've put Vi and Jinx together. Yikes. It's meant to be Vi and Caitlyn. Oh, that's cringe because they're sisters. Please ignore that. That is meant to say Vi and Caitlyn. Sorry. I thought I wanted to see Vi and Caitlyn together. But yeah, honestly, I couldn't care less when it happens. They had the perfect setup. It was something that I wanted to see. And it just turned into super cringe nonsense. But they have that, like, faux sex scene, which was... I felt super cringe. And I feel like I was one of the few people that were like, I'm here for this. I'm ready to see this. And then it kept going. And it kept going. And it kept going. And it kept going. And I'm like, wow. Can we move on, please? We have a show to finish. We have an entire show to finish. But no. No, we got to get some of that cunnilingus in there. Oh man, and then yeah, right at the end, I thought it would be really sweet to see them together, but no. It just felt off. Just something didn't feel right, and I was really surprised by that. So yeah, look, the world and especially Zorn would be amazing if only you were dead. Cringe, man. Cringe. Sorry, Vi, but that's the reality. The world, Runeterra, Zorn especially, everything would just be a lovely, lovely place if you were dead. Why would they do that? Like, why would they do that? Again, I'm not saying that that's what it is. But that is such an easy thing to infer with the information that was given to you. Oh, if only. If only Vi was dead, especially as a child. If only she died as a young, innocent child, then the world would be okay. Oh, that's pretty bad.